County Government Executive Workers. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labour and Social Welfare on a matter of a county-wide concern regarding the current status of the medical insurance scheme for Bungoma County Government Executive Workers. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. The name of the current underwriter and provide details of any insurance brokerage firms involved in facilitating or managing the medical scheme. 2. The scope of benefits under the policy, including inpatient, outpatient, maternity, dental, optical, last expense, chronic illness cover, and any other additional benefits, as well as the cover limits per family and per beneficiary. 3. The official number of staff members enrolled as principal members together with their beneficiaries covered under the scheme. 4. The total annual premium payable for the policy, including breakdown per employee if applicable, the source of funding endorsements, and provide a summary of the current policy framework highlighting the applicable terms, conditions, and exclusions. 5. The list of medical providers on the panel, including hospitals, clinics, and pharmacies authorized to offer services under the cover. Senator David Wakoli, CBS MP. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for a statement on the status of issuance of national identity cards in the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on a matter of national concern regarding the status of issuance of national identity cards in the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, there has been growing public concern in several counties over the delayed issuance of national identity cards to persons who have attained the requisite age of 18 years. The affected persons are greatly impacted as they are unable to access certain essential government services, employment opportunities, and financial services, or to exercise their political rights. Mr. Speaker. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. Per county data on the issuance of national identity cards from 2024 to date, disaggregated by gender, including statistics on the applications that are currently under processing. 2. The factors contributing to any observed disparities in the issuance of national identity cards across counties. 3. The policy, administrative, and operational measures being undertaken to address the disparities and to ensure equitable, timely, and non-discriminatory issuance of national identity cards in all parts of the country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Daniel Manzo, Senator Makueni.
Senator Maruma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labour and Social Welfare on a matter of a county-wide concern regarding non-payment of Taita Taveta County Ward Bursary Committee members' allowances. Mr. Speaker, sir, the members of the Ward Bursary Committee in Taita Taveta County have not received their allowances from the financial year 2022-2023 to the current financial year 2025-2026, despite their critical role in administering bursary allocations to needy students across the wards. This prolonged non-payment undermines the morale and effectiveness of the committees. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. the reasons behind the non-payment of allowances toward bursary committee members from financial year 2022-2023 to 2025-2026. 2, whether allowances for the committee members were included in the successive county budgets for the stated financial years. 3, the list of all committee members per ward, including their names, phone numbers, national identification numbers, and copies of their letters of appointment. 4, the timeline within which the ward bursary committee members will be paid all outstanding allowances from inception to date. 5, a report on the non-payment of allowances specifying any action to be taken against officers found culpable for the failure to effect payment. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Majaya.
Asante mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, ombi langu ni ombi la kauli kuhusu ripoti ya unyanyasaji na vitisho dhidi ya waumini wa Kiislamu wanapohudhuria swala za tarawih. Mstahiki Spika, nasimama kwa mujibu wa kauli za kudumu ya nambari 53 kipengele cha kwanza za Seneti kuomba kauli kutoka kwa kamati ya bunge ya ulinzi, ujasusi na mambo ya nje kuhusu ripoti ya unyanyasaji na vitisho kutoka kwa polisi dhidi ya waumini wa Kiislamu katika maeneo mengi yaliyo pwani wakati wa mwezi huu mtukufu wa Ramadhan, hususan wanapohudhuria swala za tarawih. Mstahiki Spika, Waislamu huadhimisha mwezi huu mtukufu wa Ramadhan kwa kufunga, kwa ibada na matendo ya hisani. Mojawapo ya ibada muhimu katika kipindi hiki cha swala ya tarawih inayoswaliwa msikitini wakati wa usiku. Ni jambo la kusikitisha kwamba kumekuwa na malalamishi na vitisho vya unyanyasaji kutoka kwa polisi dhidi ya waumini wa Kiislamu wanaposafiri kwenda na kurudi misikitini wakati wa swala hili za usiku za tarawih. Mstahiki Spika, uhuru wa kuabudu ni haki ya msingi inaolindwa chini ya kifungu cha 32 cha katiba ya Kenya. Kila Mkenya anapaswa kuwa na uhuru wa kutekeleza dini yake kwa amani bila hofu ya kunyanyaswa, kutishwa au kubaguliwa. Na mstahiki Spika, asante sana pia kuhangaishwa. Katika kauli hiyo, kamati inapaswa kujibu maswala yafuatayo. Ya kwanza ni hatua ambayo wizara imeweka kuhakikisha kwamba operesheni za usalama zinazofanyika usiku wakati wa Ramadhan haziingilii haki ya waumini wa Kiislamu kuhudhuria swala za tarawih. Pili, iwapo uchunguzi wowote umefanywa kuhusiana na madai ya utovu wa nidhamu au unyanyasaji unaotekelezwa na maafisa wa usalama dhidi ya waabudu wakati wa kipindi hiki cha Ramadhan. Tatu, hatua ambazo serikali imechukua kuimarisha ushirikiano kati ya vyombo vya usalama, viongozi wa dini na viongozi wa jamii katika eneo la pwani ili kuhakikisha Ramadhan inaadhimishwa kwa amani. Na mwisho, hatua zipi zinazotekelezwa kuhakikisha usalama na ulinzi wa waabudu wanaohudhuria swala za usiku misikitini katika kaunti zote za pwani. Asante Bwana Spika.
Now, honorable senators, I will allow comments for not more than 15 minutes. So if you get an opportunity to speak, kindly do so for not more than 3 minutes. Senator Wahome Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want also to add my voice to the Speaker, to the statement raised by the Senator for Nairobi. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's the high time that we get to define the roles of constitutional offices so that we reduce the infighting. Mr. Speaker, in many county governments, governors rarely have anything to do. They are just at the mercy of the governors. And we know that they are learned people, they can be very resourceful, but we need, Mr. Speaker, to define what their roles are as principal assistants to the governors so that, Mr. Speaker, we do not we keep on wasting a lot of resources. Mr. Speaker, I also want to add my voice to the other statements, Mr. Speaker, because indeed it is important that when we sit down here, we define some of the roles of the people so that when they get into the office, we know how we can be able to allocate their duties, their resources, and most importantly, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that the work that they've been elected to do is being done without being at the mercy of the governors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to comment on Senator Chuto's statement. Mr. Speaker, the Committee of National Cohesion, I am a member and chaired by Senator Chute, recently visited northern Kenya, particularly Marsabit County, and visited to sort out quite a number of issues affecting people in the northern Kenya. We also went to Turkana County, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you find that the Community Land Act by now should have been implemented, and it was meant to prevent disputes and ownership of land communally owned as it is in northern, eastern, and northern Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you realize that, and I like what the Honorable Oburu said today at a talk show I followed keenly, that northern Kenya is very useful to this country and many dry parts of this country, Mr. Speaker. If we did dams there, just like in case of Ukambani, Twake Dam, you'll be able to conduct irrigation.
Order, Majority Leader. Honestly, you
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
cannot converge right at the table.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if we invested in the water sources there, the rearing of animals, Mr. Speaker, the country will perform much better in terms of the huge markets and requirements of meat in the Middle East. And the meat from northern Kenya has gone through the halal process, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, when you go there, you find very healthy animals. But soon they begin finding a way for lack of water, boreholes. And also when these boreholes are done, Mr. Speaker, communities fight over them, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, the people of Moyam and any other person visiting from that area, they should seek the necessary permission or through the counties so that, Mr. Speaker, we don't have quarrels there over resources. But most important, Mr. Speaker, is to invest. The government to invest in northern Kenya, in eastern Kenya, in water and irrigation so that the agriculture farming of crops and animals, Mr. Speaker, can be useful to the country. But it goes very wrong when we just make it a talk show. We don't implement the equalization fund, Mr. Speaker. These problems, Mr. Chute, Honorable Chute, Senator for Marsabit is talking about will be there for a long time. Mr. Speaker, we need to implement the programs so that Kenyans can live in harmony and that we can develop our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Alexander Mundigi.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia statement ya Senator Aminda kuhusu mambo ya Nairobi. Nairobi sisi wote tuko city tunafaa iangaliwe njia ile inafaa. Bwana Spika, ni kitu ya kuhuzunisha sana kwa sababu tunakumbuka wiki jana wakati mvua ilinyesha watu walivagiwa na maji, magari ikaenda, biashara zikaharibika, ikashoroteka. Ningeomba kamati ya parapara iweze kuangalia na makini, kwa sababu mara mingi tumekuwa tukipatia magavana pesa, na Nairobi ni city, ingefaa gavana wa Nairobi afanye kazi kulingana vile inafaa, ndio mambo kama hii isifanyike tena. Ninakumbuka Bwana Spika, mwaka mmoja iliyopita huyu gavana mwenyewe ndiye alichukua takataka na akaenda akafunga njia ya Kenya Power. Kwa hiyo ningeomba Bwana Spika, iweze kuangaliwa huyu gavana anafanya kazi namna gani, na pia iweze kuangaliwa hata sisi senators tunafaa tuwe oversight, tunafanya vizuri. Na Bwana Spika, tumeona wengine wakisimama mbele ya magavana wengine, Bwana Spika, maseneta wakienda kusema vile kazi haifanyiki. Kwa hivyo naomba iweze kuangaliwa, ndio hata seneta wa Nairobi ambaye anaenda kila kona akisema mambo ya tamu moja aweze kuangalia mambo ya oversight, vile kazi Nairobi inafaa ifanywe. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, naunga hiyo statement mkono, iweze kuangaliwa kazi itafanywa namna gani, kwa sababu tukiendelea hivyo mambo ya kipindupindu, mambo ya malaria itaonekana katika city yetu. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, naunga mkono. Asante.
Senator for Nairobi City County, Honorable Sifuna.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, as part of the leadership in Nairobi, I was deeply embarrassed by what we saw in the city on Friday. Somehow, Mr. Speaker, when I take the mic, the volume just plummets. I don't know what is going on. But the point that I was making is that we were deeply embarrassed.
So what are you trying to suggest, Senator for Nairobi?
I'm trying to suggest that there is internal sabotage whenever some of us take to the floor, because we have also things to say. We might not shout in your ear like the previous speaker, but we want to be heard. Honorable Speaker, as a leadership in the city, we were deeply embarrassed by what happened in Nairobi on Friday. We have lost over 25 people in Nairobi alone. There is more than 4,000 families that have been affected by the flooding. And Honorable Speaker, what we want to say is our deepest condolences to all of those who have lost their loved ones. Our pole to the people who were affected in one way or by the floods. I know there are members here who were stuck on the road. Many Kenyans were stuck on the road overnight. Honorable Speaker, it was deeply, deeply embarrassing. And I said that as part of that leadership, you will hear no excuses from me. Honorable Speaker, it is quite surprising that a member of this House can forget that we have limited roles as senators. And this House knows the work that all of us have done in terms of oversighting of governance. And therefore, if the expectation from anyone in this House is that Senator for Nairobi is responsible for opening drainages, I think it is the height of hypocrisy, Honorable Speaker. Even in our political differences, you should not swing low blows, Honorable Speaker. I have heard various stories, including now we are being told that the city floods because it is built on a swamp. I think we all know, and we have known for all these years, of the problems around the drainage in Nairobi. And we can no longer give stories to the public, Honorable Speaker. We want at this particular moment in time to ensure, Honorable Speaker, that there is a comprehensive review of how this entire city drains so that these things don't happen again. I heard somebody say that the rains are things that we expect. It cannot be a surprise. And we know that it will rain again, including this week. But there are simple measures that can be put in place as we await a comprehensive review of how the city drains to ensure that these things don't happen again. Honorable Speaker, the last time we had flooding of a similar nature, they blamed settlements along the Nairobi rivers. And they kicked out many of our people from those settlements. And we thought that was the solution. But it is clear that these piecemeal interventions are not working. And that therefore, there needs to be a proper audit and review of how the entire city drains. And there's talent in young people, engineers who have done this work in other places who can be able to help us as a city to be able to stem this problem. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, there are simple things that I believe we can put in place as a county administration to help to save lives. For instance, when the meteorological department has told you that there's going to be heavy flooding, why can't we have early warning systems that can require employers to release people early from their offices so that we don't have traffic at those hours when it is raining, Honorable Speaker? Because it can be predicted with some degree of certainty the amount of rainfall we're going to receive on every single day, so that we warn people early to take precaution and to get home as fast as they can before the rains began, for the safety of everybody involved. And I am sure employers in Nairobi would actually cooperate. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity once again to just pass my condolences to everyone who has lost their loved ones. We, as the leadership in Nairobi, together with the national government, there's a few things that we believe we can do to assuage the situation, and we'll be doing it both in our individual and corporate capacities to try and extend help to those ones who have been affected. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator for Nandi County, Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to join my colleagues in passing our deepest condolences, because we are told 42 Kenyans died because of Friday raging floods, Mr. Speaker, sir. 71 vehicles were swept away, and of course there was massive. I saw yesterday in one of the news outlets that most schools could not continue. Mr. Speaker, this issue of stormwater and drainage and the issue of flooding in Nairobi is not new. In 2023, there was a similar incident. I was embarrassed by the comments of Nairobi governor, who used to tell us in a walk, but it looks like it does not work, Mr. Speaker, because they don't have even a storm drainage policy, as by my last checkings, Mr. Speaker. And I think I want to advise him to read a book called Eating Chiefs, a Nigerian by Topolo Young, Mr. Speaker, because it looks like eating is too much as opposing to working in Nairobi City County, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the national government, because they have concentrated in giving necessary support to functionality. But I know the 80 billion, Mr. Speaker, might work in favor of alleviating suffering. Mr. Speaker, I want to propose the following. Because emergency and issues are concurrent functions, we should compensate the families that lost their loved ones, because it's a criminal negligence, Mr. Speaker. We should compensate for the lives lost and the properties that have been destroyed. Kenya Power, Mr. Speaker, should also compensate Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. So we want to appeal that as we go into the future, Mr. Speaker, is another point I want to make, since our colleague is here, is lack of oversight, Mr. Speaker. I want to encourage my brother Omwami Sifuna, instead of saying Linda Mwananchi, he should start lindering Nairobi first. Because the problem is lack of oversight. Up to today, Mr. Speaker, and I know Senator Sifuna has zealously oversight the 10-point agenda of NADCO. He should start with Nairobi. If he can oversight the way he's oversighting NADCO and broad-based, if he could oversight Sakaja, we'd be not having problem, my brother Omwami Sifuna. Can you use the same passion to Linda Nairobi, not Linda Mwananchi? I saw you in Makueni. Start with Nairobi, my brother. That is where your vote is. The day you will want to run for president, start with Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. So finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to support on the issue of national ID. Let us remain focused and steady fast, Mr. Speaker. We want as many Kenyans to get the national ID. And I want to confirm to Senator Manzo that issuance of ID is free of charge, courtesy of William Ruto government. So make sure you take it so that we vote out.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some brief comments on this very important statement on floods in Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, floods did not come yesterday. This is a problem which has been transferred from one administration to another. So it will be illogical to blame the current administration of Sakaja of all the challenges on the floods. Mr. Speaker, my point is very clear.
Order.
Nairobi County, when you look at the soils, scientifically they are saturated. When you look at urbanization, there is rapid creeping urbanization in Nairobi County. Everybody is moving to Nairobi. What do you expect? The most logical thing, Mr. Speaker, is to try and look at what is the appropriate way of solving this problem for future generations. This is a systemic issue, which started with poor infrastructure development by the colonial masters. You come into the current system where everybody is encroaching into the riparian lands. You cannot continue blaming one administration that is going to be able to solve all those problems. We can be populist, but that is not going to solve our problem. We have to be able to ask ourselves, what should be the problem and what is the solution? If you look at it right now, there is a problem in the sense that not one level of government takes full responsibility. The issue of floods in Nairobi is a shared responsibility between the national government and the county government. Clarify that first. Give one entity to be able to resolve that problem. Number two, in the past years where we've had flooding in Nairobi, and flooding in Nairobi is not unique to Nairobi alone. Other cities in Africa, Lagos is another big problem. In the past, what we have done in Nairobi County is that they have concentrated on issues of declogging the flooding routes. But the issue of the matter is that what must be done now is for this House to be able to push for more monies to go to our counties so that we don't have people from Western moving into Nairobi. We don't have people from Mount Kenya moving into Nairobi and setting up settlements where it's supposed to be, sort of like riparian land. That is the issue. Let us not run away from that. Finally, Mr. Speaker, it is important to be logical and not just to be populist when it comes to the issue of solving problems in this country. We cannot run away from the fact that all of us are responsible. We start with policies here and ensure that our counties become homes for our people, not Nairobi. Nairobi is overpopulated because there are no jobs in our counties. Everybody is moving here. What do you expect? You know?
Senator Tabitha Morin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to